My name is Ava Newton, and I'm filling in for my daddy. Welcome to Time Talk Tuesday.
My name is Austin Garcia, and I'm filling in for my dad for Time to Talk Tuesday.
Well, I'm back, but I thank my kids for filling in for me during my time of absence. But here I am, and today we're going to be talking about how to sell your house while buying a house at the same time. And that can be a very difficult process, very stressful process, but it doesn't have to be. So stay tuned as we dive into today's episode on how to sell and buy a home at the same time.
Time to Talk Tuesday, where your local realtor, Antonio Newton, discusses the local market and common issues, providing quick solutions, creative ideas, as well as tips for investors, home buyers, and homeowners.
Before we dive into today's episode, this is just a friendly reminder that you can catch all of our video content on our YouTube channel at Antonio Newton. There you'll find over 100 videos made just for you, the consumer, the client. You'll have all of our Time to Talk videos. You'll have our monthly market updates. You'll have our After Coffee interview series where we interview local business people and those involved in the real estate transaction. And then you also find our homes of the day. And don't forget to connect with us on other social media platforms such as Facebook, LinkedIn, Instagram, as well as Twitter. So let's dive right in. So how to sell your house and buy at the same time? This is a question that's happening quite frequently in this market. With interest rates being so low and with so much equity in such a seller's market, a lot of sellers are looking to either capitalize on the interest rate and the high equity in their home, or either just because of COVID and they've been inside the house doesn't work for their needs anymore with virtual school and with a lot of jobs working from home. So now they're looking to sell and buy at the same time. So how can you do this and make it smooth and make it successful? Well, there are a lot of factors to consider, but one thing you want to make sure is that you assemble a great team. And by team, we're talking about the people that you're working with in the transaction. Obviously, a key component of that is going to be the real estate agent that you use. Ideally, the one that you have listing your home for sale is going to be the same agent that's helping you on the side to purchase as well. The benefit of that is that they're going to be able to coordinate both closings and stay in loop with the deal with your home selling, so that way they can keep the agent informed with the home that you're purchasing as well, and making sure that because you are putting yourself as a buyer and seller, you are putting yourself in a potential for a high risk situation. And so to help minimize those risks, to help minimize that, an agent there can help you coordinate back and forth, make sure you have the right contingencies in the contract, and make sure everything's done within a specific time frame and people are notified properly. And you also want to think about the attorney. So the attorney that you're using to close on your house, if you can work it in where he's the one who's also handling the sale of your house, so that way it takes place at one law firm. It's easier rather than the attorney having to close and then wire the money to another attorney. Everything would be right there in-house. Now, of course, you have to have the cooperation of the buyer, but this is another way to help make it smooth. And then also the lender that you're working with. Obviously, the lender's going to know going into part two, if we're using some of these funds for down payment, or if we need that, or if we couldn't get finance without closing on this home first, the lender's going to have to be heavily involved to make sure everything goes through without a hitch and that we get that closing settlement statement from your house that closed in order to be able to proceed with the purchase of the house that you want to buy. I was sitting at a closing table and they were from out of town and they had a home that closed the day before. They did a remote signing, so they weren't going to be there because they were already here. And then we're at the closing table and we getting a email and getting notified that they don't have the settlement statement yet, so they can't close on this house. So everything worked out, but we had to scramble at the last minute to make sure everything got where it was supposed to go to make that happen. So it's good that everybody stays in the loop, that everybody stays connected so that everything can ultimately be smooth for the client. And also, before you go into it, you want to think about your financial position. One, are you taking the equity out of the house that you're selling to put down the down payment for the home that you're buying? Do you have enough funds to cover 2 mortgages? Can you cover 2 mortgages, and how long can you cover 2 mortgages? Just in case if something happens where this seller backs out and you're still obligated to purchase this one. Now you have 2 mortgages, or this buyer backs out and you're still obligated to purchase this one. Do you have enough funds to cover 2 mortgages? Or if something happens where your house closes and this one isn't ready to be sold yet because maybe something happened with their deal, do you have money and funds for a hotel room, and how that works? So having all these contingency plans, ideally, yes, we're going to close on this house in the morning and you're going to close on this house in the afternoon, same day transaction. That just happened as well. But in the event that that doesn't happen, because there's a lot of moving pieces, a lot of moving factors, we want to make sure that you're set up for a position to win. So knowing, can I afford 2 mortgages? Or if my house doesn't close, do I have a contingency plan where I'm going to go for a couple of days, a week or so until that happens? You also want to think about the market. Timing is one of the most important factors. As we know, it's a seller's market. So therefore, you're going to be able to sell at a premium here, but you may be purchasing at a premium as well. So calculating those costs. And then the buyer's market is the opposite. You may not be able to sell your house for as much, but you may get a better price on the home that you're buying. So whenever you're doing 2, it all comes out in the wash, as they say. So yeah, you may be selling for top dollar, but you're still going to end up purchasing at a premium as well. But the good benefit of that is you're purchasing at a low interest rate. And then also you want to negotiate the timeline, not just the money. Obviously, money is important. And whoever you're negotiating with, whether it's the buyer or the seller, money is going to matter. But think about that timeline. So if you have an offer on your home, maybe somebody's willing to work with your timeline to give you more opportunity to get everything packed and to be able to close on this house, so that way it's a seamless transition. So maybe this offer may be $5,000 less, but maybe the timing works out. And that's where you would have to sit down as a seller and calculate what's most important. Or on the buy side, maybe your offer may be more, but you want to get in quicker and to make everything work for you with the sale of this home. So you want to make sure that you negotiate that timeline and that you have a buffer in there, because things, as we know, don't always go as planned and as expected. Then you want to make sure you have a backup plan, because just like we said, things don't always go as planned or as expected. So think about a short-term rental. Think about an Airbnb. Ask the buyers, maybe could you do a rent back? You also got to check with your lender to see if that's going to be allowed. You know, cover the cost of your next home with savings or with a HELOC loan. So there's a lot of things that you can do. You know, if you were able to sell this one and not close on your house, then maybe you could rent that one out or give that one for a short-term rental to someone. But at the end of the day, what it all comes down to is the numbers and the bottom line. That's what's going to matter, is the numbers and how everything's going to work out together, how everything's going to fit your timeline, and how everything's going to fit in your life. So certainly, you can buy and sell a house, and it can be smooth. We've done it time and time again. But it can also be a level of heightened frustration. It can also be a level of heightened anxiety. But having a good team around you, thinking about the cause, having a backup plan, and making sure that you stay informed and communicated with through all steps, not only on the home selling side, but also on the home buying side. And then that way it can be a smooth transition for you and your family. So what does this video mean for you? Well, that largely depends on your position. It would be highly unfair for me to try to predict how you can utilize this information to benefit you and your family, or maybe someone you know. But what I can and do is invite you to give us a call or shoot us a text or email, and let's have a conversation. Let's just have a quick chat to see where you're at, and then maybe if we can work together and help each other. There's no obligation, just to reach out and get some quality information. And feel free, once again, to look at any of the other videos, because it may be also addressing the same topic that may benefit you. But until then, I look forward to your call. And if there's ever a topic you want us to discuss, then please reach out, because we'd be more than happy to cover it on our next episode.
This episode of Time to Talk Tuesday was brought to you by the Newton Group at Coldwell Banker, where nothing works until we do. Look for our episodes every Tuesday, where Antonio Newton discusses the local market and common issues while providing quick solutions, creative ideas, as well as tips for investors, home buyers, and homeowners. If you'd like to reach out to us, we can be reached online and on land at area code 803-608-2597. So until next time, here's wishing you all fair winds, following seas, and gentle tides.